I stopped posting on social media for a month, and when I looked at my numbers for that month, one thing stood out, and that is that YouTube behaved very differently than all of the other social media platforms. And I can show you my analytics here, where basically if we look at my LinkedIn account at December 14th to January 10th, where I didn't post any posts, you can basically see that as soon as I stopped posting, I stopped gaining any impressions, any likes, any comments, anything. My posts basically weren't getting showed to anybody when I stopped posting. Now, on the other hand, what happened on YouTube is I didn't post for a month, and the thing is the views just kept coming in. Like here, if you can see, we have 250, 230, 180 views coming in daily without me posting. This is all from my previous videos that kept getting more and more and more views, and I got 5,700 views in a month where I didn't post anything. And if we compare it to LinkedIn directly here, where I gained 0 new impressions in the whole month of not posting, I gained 50,000 new impressions while not posting on YouTube, which is more than I gained in a whole month anyway on LinkedIn, even if I was posting. This was really interesting to me. And the reason why this is possible on YouTube is because YouTube is actually not a social platform. It's actually a search engine. And that is why you can keep gaining views on YouTube even if you stop posting, because it basically behaves totally differently than the other platforms. On other platforms, you post a post, it gets pushed to a certain number of people, and then you also get kind of forgotten back in the algorithm. Whereas on YouTube, once you create a video, if the topic is in demand, and if your video is good, YouTube is just gonna keep pushing it as long as the topic's in demand. And what happened to one of our clients, for example, is a video actually went dead for like 90 days. It got just a little bit of views, and then YouTube for some reason decided to just start promoting it again, and after 90 days after posting, the video is now getting thousands of views and just keeps going. And this is the main difference between YouTube and the other platforms, is that on the other platforms you have to keep putting it new content in, and if you get sick, everything just falls apart. Whereas on YouTube, you can build up a content library, and then once it gets going, you can basically take 1 month off, 2 months off. Some people even take years off, and they still get business from YouTube coming in regularly. Now, if you tried starting on YouTube, and this is what happened in the beginning to me also, is that you post a video and it doesn't get anywhere, right? It gets 0 views, and I see a lot of entrepreneurs really struggling with it, and they think YouTube is not for them because they just get 0 to 5 views per video and it's not getting anywhere. And this is because they act on YouTube the same way as they would on a social media platform, but YouTube requires a different strategy. So how can you actually create content that YouTube is going to push and it's going to keep gaining views over time? To do that, you basically have to make your audience and YouTube like your videos. So let's get into how we do this. So if you have your audience, right? This is your audience. This is one person watching YouTube, and what they're doing is they're probably watching one video, and your video just came up on the sidebar of YouTube there. And what your video now has to do is it has to be interesting enough for the person to click on it and disregard all the other videos. So this is done by getting the title and the thumbnail right, the picture you have on YouTube, right? If you have these two correct, the person is probably going to click on your video instead of the other videos, and this is how we get the first people in. If we don't get this step right, what we have in the video isn't even going to matter, because if the person doesn't click through to actually watch it, nobody's gonna watch it. And this is how you get the 0 to 5 view per video, is because you don't even get people to click on your video and watch it. Even if it's the best video in the world, it's not gonna get anywhere. So we get the people to click, we get it to start watching the video, and now we have to keep them watching. And this is because of 2 things. On one hand, if a person keeps watching the video, they build trust toward you, they get to know you, they maybe get curious about what you can offer and all the rest of the stuff. And on the other hand, high watch times send a signal to YouTube that your video is actually interesting. And this is what YouTube wants, because it wants to retain people on its platform so it can show ads to them. And if your video is one of the videos that retains people on the platform for longer, YouTube is going to keep recommending it. So after we get them to click, we have to get them to watch the entirety of the video, which probably won't happen when a lot of people go through, because YouTube is also going to recommend it to people who aren't actually interested in what you're talking about. So we have to get at least about 30% to 60% watch times on our first videos, and we're good, okay? If we get these three metrics right, if we get the person to click through, we get them to watch the video until the end, what we now have to do is just keep going until enough of our videos are getting recommended by YouTube so we can actually dial down the volume and maybe stop posting for a while. But this is actually where most advice ends for most people, because they just focus on how to get views, but being consistent on YouTube is basically the hardest part, in my opinion, because if you're not careful, you start spending hours perfecting each video, and this is not optimal if you're also running a business and doing other marketing related activities. So how do you actually spend as little time as possible creating on YouTube and get the biggest effect possible from the videos? Now, I spend about 3 hours per week creating YouTube videos, and sometimes I do it in even less time. So 1 hour, 1.5 hours on the big videos. I spend 3 hours preparing, recording, everything about the video. So let me show you how I do this, and I use the 3-hour YouTube system to do that. If you want the Notion template that I'm going to show you right now, you can download it in the link in the description. You're also going to get onboarding in my school community, where I basically give commentary on my videos and you can ask all the questions you want. It's free. In it you have everything that you need to set up and run your YouTube channel, and this is how I use it. So when I want to create a video, I go into my content strategy first, because I actually want to create content that my target audience that's also going to respond to my offers is going to respond to. And how I do this is by talking about topics that target the pain points that my target audience has. So for example, what I know is a lot of people in the entrepreneurial space have to spend a lot of time creating content and they don't like it, right? They want to run their businesses. I also know a lot of people have problems with having too much advice online, so they don't know who to follow to get the quickest results possible in as little time as possible. They don't know what platforms to focus on. They don't know the difference between platforms, which is a video that I'm doing right now, because I'm talking about the difference between YouTube and other platforms. So what I do, I just go in to my content strategy where I have all of this outlined, and let's say I pick a pain point. So having to spend a ton of time creating content, this is my pain point. And then I go into my 3-hour YouTube system right here, and I go into production. And in the production, I have all my videos set out here. Now I click on add new video, open it up, and it's gonna load a template. And I open up pre-production, and under pain point here, I put in the pain point that I'm going to solve. And every pain point also has an opposite ideal outcome that comes out of solving that pain point. So by the end of the video, they know how to create YouTube videos in less than 3 hours per week. This would be an ideal outcome, right? And once I have that, all I have to do is create the packaging, so the title and the thumbnail, to make the people click, and create a good video that will retain people and keep them watching. And this is actually not that hard to do, because you already, as an entrepreneur, you already have the knowledge in your head, right? You already are an expert in your field, and all you have to do is just have it translated onto the screen, onto the bullet points here, and then you can just talk about it like I'm talking about it right now. So we create a title and thumbnail. I already saw I had a video there which was talking about the similar things. So how I create more videos in less time as a founder is the title. The thumbnail is, maybe I'll put the 3-hour rule on the thumbnail with my face beside it. And then I just have to basically list out the steps. So for example, let's say step 1, create a strategy, which is a really good thing to do. Create a setup that lets you record in minutes, and then use the 3-hour YouTube system to create videos in minutes. And then once I have these done, I have to check my pain point and ideal outcome. So having to spend a ton of time creating content, by the end of the video, they know how to cut down time of creating videos. So with these 3 steps, they will know how to cut down time creating videos. And if I achieve the ideal outcome that the person was looking for when they clicked on the thumbnail and title, they're going to watch it until the end. They're going to be satisfied. YouTube's going to be happy because I produced a satisfied viewer, and it's going to promote my video to more and more and more and more people. Now, we could get into how to write hooks, how to write call to actions, and all the rest, and how to optimize thumbnails and titles and everything. And we cannot get into it in this video yet, but I can give you a lot more advice in my school community, and you're also going to get the 3-hour YouTube system, which is also good and looks like this. So if you want it, click the link in the description and join the school community and have all the questions answered there. Now, you can do a lot of the things that we talked about in this video right, but still not get views, because if you imagine your videos as a hot dog stand, the topic makes the biggest difference. Because if you set a hot dog stand in an alleyway where there's nobody coming through and there's no people to buy your hot dogs, you're not going to sell any. Whereas if you set your hot dog stand on a stadium full of raging fans that just came out of a game they watched, and they're all hungry, you're gonna sell a ton of hot dogs. And the same thing applies to YouTube. If you create a video where there's no demand about this topic, your video is not gonna get any views because there's nobody there. Your video is basically in an alleyway, somewhere in the back corner. Whereas if you create a video where there's a ton of demand on that topic and people are basically hungry for more information on it, you're going to keep getting views even if your video is not even that good. So to know how to pick the best topics possible and how to approach it, you can watch the next video here, and I'm going to show you how I pick out topics to make the best decisions possible, and also how I link them videos between each other, so once I get the person to watch one of my videos, they are inclined to watch the next one and the next one and the next one, and that way I'll retain people on my channel, I grow faster, I boost my other videos, and I build trust, and they get more interested in my offer because of it. So click here if you want to watch it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.